Do you talk politics at your concerts?
No.
President Trump says he has an incurable case of TDS. Does he?
The people who have TDS are the MAGA population.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know, I can't start giving you typical names.
I would say no.
So you think it's curable?
I don't think.
Donald Trump doesn't know what day it is.
How do you feel about Donald Trump?
I have a degree in psychology, a master's in psychology, and the man has a mental problem.
What does he have?
I don't know what it is.
But I thought you had a degree.
I have a degree, but if
It's
you have
not
a
that
degree,
good.
oh gosh.
You know, I have never had the desire to go to a Bruce Springsteen concert, and it's mainly because I think his music sucks. I know that may sound blasphemous to all my boomers and Gen Xers, but to me, Bruce Springsteen is the drizzling shits. Plus, I have no desire to see a dude that's pushing 80 who dresses like a woman. If you go to a Springsteen concert, you don't know if you're getting Bruce or Caitlyn. But over the last 5, maybe even 10 years, Uncle KC has been given another reason to never waste his time or his money watching this garbage. This is not a concert, it's a worship service. It is the touring version of Woke United Methodist, where Bruce Springsteen is both the worship leader and the preacher. He leads the worship songs, then delivers passionate sermons on the woke commandments. Can you imagine paying $300, $400, $500 and being surrounded for hours by parishioners at Woke United Methodist like you just saw in that clip? I would be more willing to spend that money to watch a pretend basketball game in the WNBA. Hell, at least Angel Reese is entertaining, and she's a hell of a lot better to look at in dresses that Bruce Springsteen prefers to wear. Clearly, I am not the only one with no desire to see Brucey. Over the last few weeks, Caitlyn has been struggling to sell tickets. Now, in fairness to Kate, him, he is not the only one suffering through this disease of blue dot fever. Uncle KC, what is blue dot fever? Is that the latest strain of the terrifying woke fungus? Is that a supersized mutation of stage 4 OMB? Oh, it's been bad! That's what I thought initially. I thought Aunt Fauci and pretend Dr. Jill Biden had been doing gain-of-function research at Woke Memorial Hospital, coming up with new and improved ways to spread the fungus. But blue dot fever actually originated in the WNBA. It is the main symptom in those infected with the inability to sell tickets. When you look at their events on Ticketmaster, you see thousands of blue dots representing empty seats. Recently, there's been a major problem in the music industry. Concerts, sometimes the vast majority of entire tours, are being canceled. Some dude named Post Malone, who looks more like a billboard than a music artist, I guess with Post Malone struggling to sell tickets, he started to sell advertising on his face. Meg Trainor, someone named Zayn Malik, no one is willing to pay to see them perform. And of course, Bruce Springsteen. Brucey, he is accustomed to lonely women in their motorized wheelchairs paying anywhere from $300 to $700 to be in his presence. Me personally, I would pay $700 for a set of earplugs or a muzzle so I didn't have to hear Bruce Springsteen perform. But lonely old ladies who probably lost their husbands years ago from an overdose of Brucey, they typically pay $700 to be mesmerized by the self-proclaimed boss. Unfortunately for Bruce, judging by the prices at his recent concerts, along with the abundance of empty seats, it looks like the boss has been fired. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Today on the second channel, going to be talking about this woman in NASCAR having an emotional meltdown and quitting in the middle of a race. I don't usually talk about NASCAR for obvious reasons, but you have got to hear this meltdown. It is a career-ending moment for, I think her name is Natalie Decker. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Last month, Bruce Springsteen was struggling to sell tickets in his home state of New Jersey, which is highly unusual for most artists historically. And I don't know if this is still the case, but historically, the trajectory for an artist was to establish yourself at home. You play local dive bars, or in the case of Bruce Springsteen, you play local chapters of Woke United Methodist on bingo night. You start venturing out to other dumps throughout your state. You expand regionally, and you hope to be popular enough one day to expand nationally. But if you're fortunate enough to expand nationally, your strongest market is typically your home market. That was not the case last month for Bruce Springsteen. Tickets that started for thousands of dollars, they were selling for less than $200. Now, to his credit, Brucey has played in front of sold-out crowds this week at Madison Square Garden in New York City. From what I understand, Bruce Springsteen puts on one hell of a show in between passionate lectures from the woke Bible. Unless, of course, you're Chris Christie. Last week, Chris Christie, he took a break from his nightly exercise of lifting heavy donuts to his Grand Canyon-sized mouth to see his favorite Brucey perform. As Bruce Springsteen was slowly, very slowly, making his way to the stage, he passed by the president of his fan club and completely ignored him. My inside sources are telling me that during his bi-weekly sessions with his counselor, instead of grieving about being rejected by Donald Trump, Chris Christie is grieving this brutal rejection from the man that he calls boss. I guess the people of Pittsburgh aren't willing to pay hundreds of dollars to be rejected by an aging fossil either. Hell, some aren't willing to pay $75. Check it out for yourself. This is the seating chart for Brucey's show on Tuesday night in Pittsburgh. As you can see, almost the entire arena is still available. If you want to sit up front and be showered by the cool breeze of Brucey juice, instead of paying $1,000, $1,500, you can bottle fresh sweat from the Springsteen for less than $500. To put this in perspective, me and my wife are going to see a comedian next month. I think his name's Derek Stroop. He's had a Netflix special, but I wouldn't call him a mainstream comedian. I don't know if mainstream comedians even exist anymore. But we are sitting third row, center of stage. Our tickets were $200, $250 a piece. Meanwhile, Bruce Springsteen, a legendary mainstream artist with a career that has lasted longer than I have been alive, similar seats for his show are less than double that price. Again, these seats usually sell for over $8,000, some cases $2,000. So why the drastic drop in demand? And it's not like this is a one-off. His show next Friday night in Cleveland, there are thousands of seats still available. Now, as of now, you can't get in the door for less than $200. But Pittsburgh was the same way last week, and the closer we get to the show, the further the ticket prices fall. Now, the easy excuse is to just blame all of this on the economy. I'm sure Bruce Springsteen and his butt bongo band, or whatever the hell he calls them, I'm sure they are blaming Don Trump and his economy. It's the gas prices. People can't afford to fill their tanks to come to our show. I'm sure money is a problem for some people, but in my experience, and this is especially true for artists who are nearing the end of their careers, in most cases, people are willing to pay for the experience. If you're a lifetime fan of Bruce Springsteen and you've never seen him perform live, he's almost 80 years old. Touring is notoriously tough on your body. You don't know how many more opportunities you're going to get to be sedated by Bruce live and in person. Are you going to let $500, $600, $700, $800 stop you from seeing the show? In Pittsburgh, are you staying home because you don't want to spend $75? For most people, I don't think money is the deterrent. Me personally, I think some have been turned off by his politics. Last month, Bruce Springsteen, he interrupted one of his shows to deliver a passionate sermon on the threat to democracy that's currently living in the White House. People are not paying hundreds, thousands of dollars to listen to an 80-year-old man whine about immigration. They can listen to John Biden do that for free. This is what Hollywood and the music industry fail to understand. They think because they have influence, keyword, think. Because most of these people don't have the influence they think they have. They think because they have influence, people want to hear their personal beliefs. When I go to that comedy show next month, and if Derek Stroop starts talking about politics, I'm getting the hell out of there, and he will never collect another $200 from me again. My guess is there are a lot of Bruce Springsteen fans who feel the same way. I think another thing that could be affecting him is the overall decline of the music industry. Music isn't what it used to be. A lot of these artists, they are absolutely terrible live performers. Again, Bruce Springsteen, from what I've been told, great live performer. But the overall industry is in decline. There is no more timeless music. Songs that are popular today, forgotten tomorrow. Everything is automated. There's no feeling or soul to it. If you're not capturing attention and maintaining it with the music that you are releasing, why would anyone pay to see you perform live? I just don't think the economy is the reason that these shows are being canceled. Maybe people are realizing that modern music sucks. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.